In this week's parasha, Parashat Ha'azinu, we have the song of Ha'azinu, we have the shir of Ha'azinu, but we know it's a shir of Tochacha, it's a shir of Musar, but it's also a shir of Emunah and Bitachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what He's doing. So I want to look at an early pasuk that I think really represents some of the rebuke, some of the Tochacha, but also some of the greatness of understanding what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu and how our relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually works. So early on, the pasuk says, the parasha says, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo, the rock, referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the tzur, as the rock. A couple of years ago, we gave a longer Dvar Torah about what does it mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a rock? What is the symbolism of the tzur? And in almost every place here, the rock refers to God, except for one area where the rock, all of a sudden, we're going to have shemen coming out of the rock, we're going to have dvash coming out of the sela, but okay, that's a different idea. But right now, it says, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo, the rock whose actions are perfect. Kikol derachav mishpat, because all of Hashem's ways are just. El emunah ve'ein avel, we have a faithful God who's never false. Tzaddik ve'yashar hu, true and upright is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem is tzaddik, He's ashar, emunah, ein avel, there's nothing wrong. Mishpat, talking about the straightness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the exacting and judgment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the fairness, the emet of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem is our rock, consistent and just. Now, Hazal see in this pasuk the idea of tziduk hadin. Tziduk hadin, we do it nowadays if somebody passes away. It's the concept of affirming Hashem's justice in the face of loss, in the face of tragedy or adversity or personal difficulties. It's to matzdik, it's to justify, to affirm that the deen, all the difficulty that I'm seeing right now, it really is just, it really is the right thing. So they see in this pasuk, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo, a bit of what's called tziduk hadin. So says the Midrash in Devarim Rabban, Vazot HaBaracha, it's Perek Yud Aleph Siman Yud, says the Midrash. Hashem was pleading with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, please let me into the land of Eretz Yisrael. Please let me go in, let me live. I don't have to be a leader anymore. He said, I can even be a bird, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just let me into the land of Israel. Please let me in. But ultimately, Hashem explained to him, that's not how life, that's not how death works. There is, you're also a human being. You're also up to 120 years. That's a human being. Moshe Rabbeinu, you have to die. It doesn't work that way. Says the Midrash. Kevan shera'a Moshe. When Moshe saw he said that there's no living creature that could be saved from death. In that moment he said, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo ki kol derachav mishpat el emunah ve'ein avel tzaddik ve'yashar hu. He was doing tziduk hadin, he was accepting the fact that he has to die. Similarly, there's a Midrash Tehillim in Mizmor Tzadik Bet. It says over there, Amru lo Moshe, they asked Moshe Rabbeinu, Mi garam lecha shelo l'kanes la'aretz. Who caused it that you couldn't enter the land of Israel? Who did this to you? Amar lahem, ani garamti. He said, I did this. I'm to blame. Amru lo v'lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu asa lecha. But wasn't it God's decree? Didn't God do this to you? Amar lahem, chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. Afilu im ro'im shakadosh baruch hu matzdik et harasha umarshi et tzaddik. Even if you think you misconceive, you think your perception is that Hashem is being matzdik the rasha and being marshi et tzaddik. No, hatzur tamim pa'olo ki kol derachav mishpat el emunah ve'ein avel. He says no. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu is just. I might not see it, I might not understand it, but Hashem knows what He's doing. There's one more idea based on our pasuk I saw in Midrash regarding the Asara Harugei Malchut, one of the 10 martyrs. This is in the Sifri on our parsha. So it says the Sifri Piska Shin Zayin. Davar Acher, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo. Keshetafsu et Rabbi Hanania ben Tradion, when the Romans captured Rabbi Hanania ben Tradion, the great tzaddik, nigzera alav gzera lisaref im sifro. There's a decree that he has to be burnt with his Sefer Torah. This is one of the most terrible and most gruesome of the 10 martyrs. Amru lo. So he said to him, Nigzera alecha gzera lisaref im sifricha. There's been a gzera against you that you have to be killed, you have to be murdered, being burnt in your Sefer Torah. Kara mikra azeh. So you read out loud, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo, read our pasuk. Amru leishto, he said the same thing to his wife. Nigzera al ba'alech, gzera lisaref alayich lihareg. There's a gzera that your husband is going to burn and you're going to be killed too. Akra mikra azeh el emunah ve'ein avel. She continued our pasuk. Then they went to the daughter as well, and ayen shama ba midrash. So I was thinking, we have ourselves this concept. Our pasuk, Hatzur Tamim Pa'olo, is a pasuk of tziduk hadin. Now I was thinking, okay, fascinating. It's a pasuk of tziduk hadin. Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching us ha'azinu, and we see from the midrashim, the first two that we quoted, that it's Moshe himself that's being matzdik his own personal din, that he's going to die now. He's not going to be able to live forever, and he's not going to be able to make it into Eretz Yisrael. So I was thinking, wait a second. Hatzur tamim pa'olo. What action led to this deen? What action led to Moshe Rabbeinu not being allowed to enter Eretz Yisrael? It was the hitting of the rock. Now, in that pasuk, it's called a sela, but we know earlier on the rock is called a tzur. And in the past, we've spoken about the difference between a tzur and a sela. What is porous? What is tougher? What do you speak to? What do you try to get out to? But the concept of a tzur is another name for a rock. So even though we have these nuances, Moshe Rabbeinu is being punished for hitting a rock. And now when he's doing tziduk hadin, what's he calling Hashem? What's the term he uses for Hashem? A rock. So part of his justifying his punishment is by using this language of a tzur. Now that's really wow. Because when Moshe is calling Hashem the tzur, Hashem is the rock. Hashem is the stable one. I'm the one who sinned. I'm the one who, so to speak, hit the rock. Ultimately, it's hinting to his sin. The idea of calling Hashem tzur in a positive way is also hinting to his lower level, to his negative self. As he says in the Midrash, I'm to blame. I did it wrong. He's hinting to the deen that's against himself, but he's recognizing that he's the blame. And look at this level, that Moshe is now going to demonstrate the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the fact that he was the one, that he had sinned through the tzur itself. Now we spoke in the past, one of the interpretations of when Nadav and Avihu died, when Moshe tells Aaron, I thought Hashem was going to make a Kiddush Hashem between either you and me, that there was a certain Kiddush Hashem to the death of Nadav and Avihu, which some of the commentators say it's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu judged them so strictly, so much midat hadin, because that's tzaddikim, they're judged on midat hadin, that's the Rabbi Akivas, that's the Moshe Rabbeinus of the world, that's the Nadav and Avihu's, they're judged kechut se'ara. They say the same thing about Moshe and Aharon not being able to enter Eretz Yisrael. For what appears to be a small little thing of not hitting a rock, but the idea being that when you have people that are so great, such big tzaddikim, Nadav, Avihu's, we have ourselves Moshe's, we have Aaron's, we have Rabbi Akiva's. When you have these levels, the 10 martyrs, you have these people on such high levels, where Hashem's going to judge them now, kechut se'ara. When Hashem judges the great person, that itself is a statement to say that even the great person, when he messes up, even if he messes up small, he gets punished. That's a Kiddush Hashem, because that shows that Hashem doesn't play favorites. You can't bribe a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even the great Moshe Rabbeinu is going to die. Even the great Aharon HaKohen can't enter Eretz Yisrael. Even the great Nadav and Avihu, they messed up, they die just like everybody else. And that makes a great Kiddush Hashem, because when the great person, when the great human being falls because of Hashem's greatness, that makes Hashem even greater. And it seems to be that not only are we learning this lesson in the bigger picture, not only are we learning from Nadav and Avihu, Moshe Rabbeinu now is teaching it about himself. By him calling HaKadosh Baruch Hu the tzur, using this language of a rock, Moshe Rabbeinu is doing the greatest level of tziduk hadin. He's saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the real rock. I messed up with my rock. But Baruch Hashem, we have our rock, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that really demonstrates that Hashem really is everything. Shabbat Shalom.